our subconscious mind can go on alert saying, this doesn't feel really right.
Welcome, everyone, to the Autoimmune Hour. I'm Sharon Sayler from SharonSayler.com. And as always, it's my honor and pleasure to be with you here on another brand new episode. You can always find more information about me over at SharonSayler.com. And of course, UnderstandingAutoimmune.com, where you'll find 460 plus and counting episodes of our show. And tonight we've got an interesting topic. I've always been fascinated by this, but I really don't know a lot about it. So when it came across our production board, we said, let's go for it. But first, what I'm going to go for is a nice cup of tea here. Remember a few months ago, I told you my friends that went to Paris, they brought me tea. They went to Paris for the holidays and brought me more tea. So it's just fantastic. So now I'm all ready to go here. Let me introduce our amazing guest. Sometimes it doesn't take much, just to repositioning the desk or removal of additional picture and placement of covering or a mirror and perhaps even a candle or whatever. So where are you going, Sharon? What are we talking about? It sounds like interior decoration, right? I guess probably maybe part of it. We're talking about Feng Shui today. And I've always been fascinated. I've heard all sorts of stories about it, but haven't really explored it too much. Did a little bit of deep dive into YouTube, and that can lead you down multiple rabbit holes. So why not go for the best, right? We've got Feng Shui Master Marie Diamond on the show, and she's got a brand new book out. Let me get the title right. Let's see. Feng Shui Your Life. That's the title. And I'm really excited to have her on the show tonight. So, Marie, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
Oh, now I have heard so much about Feng Shui, and I've often thought it was just about, as I said in the opening, repositioning your desk or a mirror or something like that. But as I got more into studying it and with your help here, understanding that it's way deeper than that. So, how do you define Feng Shui?
First of all, feng shui means wind and water. So it's all about the flow of qi, flow of energy. And so this is a more than 3,000-year-old energy system from China. And you can compare it with people that are doing Tai Chi or Qigong or doing acupuncture. And it actually is the same, using the same principles on the body, but on the level of the home. And so it's actually creating an energy system in the place where you live, sleep, and work by using positioning of your furniture, the colors, the images, but also very personally connecting in with your birthday and to see where is the strongest flow of qi coming from which wind direction, and then to activate it. So in a way, it's like using certain items that you have in your environment to activate certain acupuncture points. And so this is actually what Feng Shui is about. It's, I would say, only the last 50 years, it literally started coming to the West. And I started studying in 1990. So I'm already 30 years Feng Shui Master. And I love sharing this information. I've done this to more than 1 million people online. And so it's really fascinating how it really can affect subconsciously your success, your money flow, your health and being, your relationship, and your inspiration.
Wow, I had no idea. And first, wow, many thoughts come to my mind. I did not know it was tied into your birthday. I want to put a little asterisk by that and come back to that because I find that fascinating. Yet, I know, especially during the pandemic when most people were spending much more time at home, this probably became apparent that maybe the home didn't have the greatest flow or feeling to it. What are some of the top ways that you see people going, "Oh, wow, that is the biggest no or blockage right there"?
Correct. During the pandemic, suddenly people became more aware of being at home 24 hours a day. Yeah, sleeping, their social life, their work was all happening in the same spaces. So they became more confronted, really, if there was a lack of energy or if their house was supporting them or not. And so this is actually when I feel like Feng Shui just went to another level in the mainstream media. I think that year alone, I gave 400 interviews because people became aware something is off in my home. So, what can we first look at and how do we become aware of it? The first is that people, when the flow is off, they start creating more clutter. They're creating more chaos in their space around them. And I always say it's working both to the outside and to the inside. So it means when you have clutter and chaos around you, the mirror neurons in our brain will reflect it back subconsciously in ourselves. So we're more procrastinating, we're more deconcentrated. And of course, that reflects back in our environment and we're creating more chaos and more mess. So that's like the first thing that shows that your flow is off. If you have a hard time to keep it clean and organized. So of course, how do we start with that? We can go deeper a little bit into it, but it's also connected with your personal energy.
I'm gonna circle back to that asterisk I had about our birthdays then, because I'm thinking in certain situations, I can think of a couple of family members. What happens if you've got more than one person in the family and maybe one person feels the flow or lack thereof and the other person is the clutter bug? I'm just thinking, okay, it's really easy if you live by yourself.
Yes, it does affect the clutter of somebody else will affect you, perhaps. I always say at least try to keep the space where you are the most in the house clutter free. For some people, that will be their living room. For another, it will be their office or their bedroom. I don't know where that exactly is for you. But if there is clutter from somebody else, you will definitely would love to at least put a fabric over it for a while so that you don't see it. So put something over it, still you have a feeling like I am okay with what it is right now until I find time to change it. Now, based on your birthday, and that's very interesting, is that we have something called the compass feng shui. And so they have seen the last 1500 years that it's not just general feng shui, what we would call like more the bagua mapping, but it's actually also based on your birthday. There are certain compass directions that are more affecting you. And so in the book Feng Shui Your Life, we're going over that and I'm going step by step over what are the areas for you personally. But I always ask people to go and download my free app. It's called Marie Diamond. So you can put it in any app store. And there you'll be asked to put in your birthday and your birth gender. Because it's at your birthday that you create a energetic profile. And that energetic profile gives you a number between 1 and 9 and it gives you an archetype. But what it gives most of the time, what is really important is that it gives you also 4 directions that are strong for you. And so once you have put that in, and it's not based on numerology, it's a calculation, it's a formula, a mathematical formula that's behind in the system. And so people then get a compass. And so on the compass, you will see people have a success direction, a relationship direction, a health direction, and a wisdom direction. So what people then do, they hold then the app, like on the level of the heart, and they see where is their success direction. So for example, my success direction is really behind me. I don't look at it, but it's there. And I activated it, first of all, with books and my awards. Yeah. So what if you would have there clutter or broken things, or like you created a mess in that corner? You actually are telling the universe, you're telling yourself at the same time, energetically, I am not open to success. My success will be chaos. So all the thoughts, all the ideas, all the work I do is actually going to end up in chaos. So we can do that for your health also. What is very important for people that have health issues, if they put like a garbage can or they put a lot of, I don't know, boxes or socks or whatever they put in their health direction, especially in their bedroom, because that's where they're re-energizing, that will actually affect their immune system from on a subconscious level. So all these 4 directions that are important for you, relationship-wise, if you have problems in relationship and you have a lot of clutter there, specifically for me, that's west, for you can be something else, then you will actually have more issues in your relationship. So the clutter can be general everywhere, but also if it's specifically in the directions connected with your personal energy profile, that is where the problems really start.
Wow. Okay. There was a lot to unpack there, Marie.
I know.
My first question though, When you said on your compass for you specifically, you said the success was behind you. And so that to me is, does that, and then as we unpacked it a little bit more, you mentioned that health was to your west. Now, which directions are we talking about? Is my success always behind me, whether I'm facing north, south, east, or
So
west, or is
no,
it?
it's not. It depends on the room that you're in,
Okay.
right? So when I'm in this room, I'm actually the southwest, that's my direction, is behind me. Yeah. But in another room, the way I position myself, like in my bedroom, it's the way it's positioned, it's actually close to the door, right? So it's all that's why you have a compass that indicates because where is that direction in the room? That's
Okay,
actually
so it's a real compass. It's actually
the real compass.
okay.
It
Sometimes
changes.
people use compass interchangeably for generics, but this is actually finding north, south, east, and west. Wow.
Correct.
I got
It is.
lost. I could figure out where I was, Marie, with your app.
Yeah. So actually, yes, you can actually use this app and travel in the woods and find north and south and east and west. Yes.
Okay. Now, a couple of questions though. It still comes up. So I've got mine, but what do I do my partners as well if we share the same living space?
Yes, you need to do that. So if you are by yourself, okay, that's easy. You focus on that. You will see on the app, you can put in other energy numbers and then you can put in the activations, like what is the birthday and the birth gender of that person. Then it calculates and then you can share it. So you need to share it to the person that they need to look at their own app, yeah, because the profile is really connect with your birthday. So I cannot change your profile on the app. And so what you need to look at is like your success direction can be different than somebody else. Like my husband, his success energy is northwest. Yeah. Mine is southwest. Does that mean we get along? Yes, of course we get along. But it's all about where do I put the feng shui acupuncture for him is different than for me. So, as for example, he sits a lot in the family room. That's where I activated his success energy, right? He loves everything about cars and Formula Ones. So I put all the items and the images that he loves about that there. I would not put that in my workspace because he's never in my workspace. That belongs to me. So I activate that then in my office space. What is my success direction? But in the bedroom, I focus always on romance, yeah, relationships. So I activated my relationship direction and his relationship direction. That is different, but you just look where it is and you hang something there or you place something there that resonates with you, right? So if you're in a couple, you don't hang an image of a solitary woman, right? Because that doesn't resonate with what you are having in your life or what you want in your life. And so I also activate the health direction in the bedroom because we are regenerating, we are recuperating in our sleep. So there are certain things, and that's again the book Feng Shui Your Life is going step by step through. It's like I'm holding your hand and I'm going through your home to really say what you need to place things and what to place because it's not just that you declutter these areas, you also have to think about what do I place there? What is right for me to place there? What is resonating with me?
One question I have that's somewhat tangential to this, and I'm thinking about a friend of mine who's the clutter bug that we, we mentioned earlier. What they did, and I want to know if it works, is they've compromised on their shared spaces. You said something about the bedroom, you do something in your direction and something in your husband's direction. And yet, in his office or his space, his area, they just close the door. Is that okay to do? Does that, like, trap his clutter in there, or does it seep out even though it's because
Well, it
I know it's
depends.
behind the door. If I was in that room, their house, I know what he's like, and there's something behind his door.
For sure, it is still affecting you. So it's not just only that. When we look at the floor plan of your whole house, it is possible that office is located in his health area. So from the center of the floor plan, you can also check out what are the rooms that are connected with me the strongest. So if you, for example, have a room full of clutter, I had that recently of somebody, and she was telling me, I have such a hard time to meditate. I have such a hard time to connecting with God. And so we have something called the wisdom direction on your chart. And the wisdom direction is all about how you align with God, how you align with inspiration, with all this, the divine help that there is there for you. And so if I looked at the floor plan, I saw that in her house, that was the guest room, and it was full of clutter. She put like everything there and she closed the door. She says, I don't see it. I'm fine. So I asked her to start decluttering that area because it's not just only your own spaces where you live, sleep, and work, it's also connect with your whole floor plan. So she started redoing that. And then she found this idea to create there a meditation space. What she did, she painted in the colors I suggested. And literally, she was like, my God, I'm finally able to have a discipline to meditate every day and to do my workout and to do my qigong. And so sometimes the areas where we push everything away and we close the door, it still can affect us, even if we're not sleeping, working, or living there.
That was my question about this. Now I'm gonna go tangential again, Marie. When we talk about clutter, to me, one person's clutter is another person's treasures. And how do we deal with that in partnerships too?
I always say you need to go through the stuff that you have, right? And so in the book Feng Shui Your Life, I have a very specific system that we're going through to, and sometimes that is with your partner that you have what I call a declutter buddy. And so you go through it and you go into 5 aspects. So one is the things you feel, and you ask the question, will I use this in the next year? It's not about having joy about it. It's about very practical. Will I use this? Yeah. And then you put it in a box or a bag that's the keep box. Then there's a box that is, if things are broken, literally they're broken, they can't work anymore, that is a trash can. And then the third box is, you know what, I don't really need to use it, but it could be a gift, it could be a treasure for my children, for my grandchildren, for my partner, for a friend. And then I have post-it notes or I take pictures of it. And I said, look, I have this. I don't want to use it anymore, but is it something you would love? And so you can then see it and send it forward and then make sure they have it within a week or two so it doesn't stay in your home. And then the fourth box would be things you say, I don't want to use it anymore, but literally I could sell this. It could be somebody would pay for that treasure. So you could make money from that treasure that you perhaps would like to pass on through eBay or through vintage apps for older clothing. So you can do that. And then box 5 would be the box for goodwill. The box that you feel like, I can't give that away to my friends. That's not something that anyone really treasures. I don't think that's something I want to make money from, but I could give it to a charity. So these are like 5 boxes. I'm telling you, by doing this, you will let go of 10 to 20%, if not more, from the things that are in your drawers or are your closets, and you tackle one closet at a time. So you don't go and start the whole house. That is just too much. And sometimes it's good to get everything out of the drawer, to get everything out of the closet, and not just pick things out and then decide. Just take everything out, and that you will need to deal with it in the next few hours. So you cannot wait and keep it there for months on. So you need to be like very active, get somebody in to help you with making decisions because everything has a story in our subconscious mind. Oh, I got that from my aunt. Oh, that was given by my partner. But the whole thing is that you try to stay as practical as possible.
I like that. We had Sharon McGrill on doing organization a few weeks ago. And one of the things that she talked about, which is so similar to this, is she also said, tackle the biggest problem first, because that's when you have all your energy. And I like that thought too, was not just do a tiny little junk drawer, because all your energy where you're motivated is going into a tiny little junk drawer. I like your idea of, okay, what's the biggest elephant in the room and tackle that one when you've got the right energy. And it sounds like we're talking about something similar here. Now, when we're talking about things like health and wellness and feng shui, explain to me, we were talking about how energy flows and things like that. I'm still confused how the placement of things in my home will make me healthier.
First of all, we see that feng shui was first practiced for health and well being. So it was not first focused on money or relationships. When they start practicing feng shui, it was really to get longevity, because if they had their front door or they had their windows towards the north or the east, then there would be colder winds coming in. And so if they had their front door or their windows towards the south or west, they would have warmer winds coming in. And when there's more warmth, there was longer energy during the day. So their immune system would really thrive from that. So nowadays, of course, we have heat within the house, so we can really tap into something else. The way you position things around you will affect you. So let me say, for example, the bedroom. So if people are going into the bed and the bed is set up in such a way that you can see people coming into the door, so you're not like on the same wall of the door that comes into your bedroom, then you will actually have more strength. You will have more power because you are in what we call the power position. What we have seen is when we do tests with encephalograms, if people are sleeping in what we call power position, you can see the door coming from the hallway. I'm not talking about the closet door or the door to the bathroom, the door that you come into the room. We have seen that people spike up their alpha brainwaves. And so when you're sleeping with your head on the same wall of the door, you spike up your beta brainwaves. Now, when you have beta brainwaves, it's more difficult to, I would say, bring more positive energy into your mind. And so people are more worried. They're more faster going into procrastination. They have a harder time to be optimistic. So when you sleep towards what we call a power position, you literally start having the alpha brainwaves, and that means you will start also getting easier to heal. You will be easier to think positive about the future, about whatever is going on in your life. You will be more focused on actions and be more proactive. So that's the first thing we have seen already by that. But not just in the bedroom, also wherever you are sitting. And that can be in your office, it can be in your dining room, in your family room. Always sit in a position that you can see the people coming into the room because your vibration changes. Not just your vibration, but also your brainwaves are changing. Now, we also have seen if people then on top of it can sit, and that's not always possible, depends on the location of the house, can also face, look at a direction while they're awake. That is one of their four good directions. That will actually spike them up even more to even go into theta brainwaves. So it's really interesting. The brainwaves are really affected by your positioning, connecting in with the chi. And for example, I am seeing the door in my office. I can see people coming in, but I also face my wisdom direction. I'm teaching, so wisdom is a good direction for me. But for example, when I do health practices, I would always make sure I have my app. And that's what my students have learned over the years. So if you do any practice of health, if that is yoga or if it's qigong or tapping or everything you do, face and look at your health direction because your brain will be more open to receive the information that you're creating. Now, at night, we try to sleep with our head towards a good direction. Now, that is not always possible. Sometimes it is. It depends again on the location. But if you cannot sleep towards that good direction, activate your health direction. So make sure there's no clutter. You can put there, I don't know, supplements, books on health, certifications you have on health practices. You can put there your supplements, for example. So anything that resonates with it. So everything that is around you will affect you. But on your health and being, and the last point I really want to focus on is mirrors. So when people have mirrors in their bedroom, then they will actually double the stress vibration because the mirrors are like doubling your body, but are doubling. You come to sleep, you're feeling not so great. So you double that energy. When you're sick and you have mirrors, you double the energy of that is the negative frequency of your health. So I would suggest that you always cover them at night. Put a curtain in front of it, put a screen in front of it at night. First of all, I always say that 80% of my students have reported that they sleep better. That's the first rule. They sleep immediately much better and longer, deeper. So when you sleep deeper, you have more REM phases. So rapid eye movement phase, you go and heal faster. The second thing that we have seen, and there are some tests being done in China about it, is that when people have mirrors reflecting their bed, blood pressure has a tendency to go up, inflammation is stronger, and white blood cells are enhanced, or like there are more of them. So once they cover it, they see naturally the blood pressure going down and there's less inflammation happening in the body. So these are some things that people can do, very practical. It's literally covering your mirrors at night. During the day, you can keep them what they are, but especially when you are sick in bed, cover your mirrors. Your health process will go faster.
Wow, that's amazing because I think that's the one place most people have at least big mirrors is in the
They
bedroom.
do. In the US, yes, but in Europe, nobody does that.
That's fascinating. Now, one of the other things I was thinking about though is when you said when we were talking about different positions in the room and mentioned like what if you're active want to activate your wisdom and what if you want to activate all of them at the same time? Can you do that? I'm thinking, gosh, I don't want to just pump up my wisdom and let my health stay here.
You can do all your four directions. I always would suggest that, but I'm sometimes telling it's not always possible. Let's say you have a door where your success direction is, right? So, yeah, there's a door. You cannot change that. But perhaps in another room, you can do activate your success direction. So, you have to be practical also and creative in how you want to activate that. But another thing I want to suggest also is to think about what is really there. Go through your house and look at the images. Like, what is really there? Is this affecting me in some way? I'm giving you an example. I had this woman, and she had all the time headaches, and she was trying all kinds of solutions. And she was like, it helps, but then I go back to sleep. And again, I have this pain in my head. And she said, it's just, I feel like I'm allowing it to happen. I'm allowing this headache to come back. And I said, that's weird. So I said, let me look at your bedroom. So above her bed, she had an image. She was very Catholic, but she had an image of Jesus with a torn crown. So each time she goes to bed, she's actually seeing that image in her subconscious mind. Yeah. So I said to her, I think this would be really good to take that away. He said, but I'm such a believer in Jesus. I said, that's wonderful. I'm sure there are other images of Jesus you can hang there, right? Images where his hands are open, he shows his heart. There's so many beautiful images of him around. Let's change that. And so she did that. And then she was like, she felt like energy was different for her. And so she said, I go to bed and now I feel like Jesus is there with his hands open, like I feel his healing energy. And I feel so much more at peace at night when I go to sleep, and my headaches are less. I said, it's supporting your health practices. I'm not saying it's going to heal you, but it's going to help you to make sure that whatever you do as a health practice, as medicines or healing, it will support you. So the whole question is, does your home support you, or does your home limits or blocks your flow of energy? So this is just sometimes simple, but it's just the images are giving us all the time a message. And the message is we want to heal. But if that image, and it was also in her health direction on top of it, she was sleeping towards her health direction, what looks really good, but with the wrong image. So I said to her, you actually want to heal, but at the same time, you're still blocking yourself from it. Yeah. So just be aware of what is hanging, what is placed in the areas. I remember this other man, and he had all the time problems with his joints of his elbows and his knees. And so he said, I did all the right process and procedures, but still, I still attract all this pain. And so I looked at his house, and he had in all his rooms, he loved Greek statues. So he had images of men without arms and legs. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So subconsciously, he's telling there's a problem there. So I said to him, why don't we remove them and put them away for a while and see how you feel? And I really feel so much better because I said, even if you do all these wonderful procedures to really be better, still your subconsciously is getting the message I actually am not good on that level. Yeah. So sometimes just taking it away for a while. And I say to people, at least take it away for 10 days. Just take that image off. Even if it's nothing instead, that's fine. It's better nothing than something that is not right. Yeah. And then people like, oh, they never hang it back because they can feel it has made an impact in their mindset. It has made an impact sometimes in their actions. And he said also it's very interesting because sometimes I don't have enough the discipline to do my exercises that he got from his therapist. He said, but since I put these images away, I am so focused on doing my exercise. So it's just that sometimes you are more proactive with the right things around you.
And this brings up, we've had Sarah Payton on, who's a neurobiologist educator, and it's fascinating to me. I can see some really correlations where she says that the two things that people want from the very beginning and at all times, they have this little radar going around in their head saying, what the first question is, am I safe? And the second question is, do I matter? And I can see from what we put in our home, we may not feel safe, even if it's something that we find pleasant to look at while we're awake. Our unconscious mind might uh, conjure up all sorts of
Correct.
other meanings around something that we either were gifted or we like or something like that.
Yeah, it can go in alert mode. Our subconscious mind can go in alert saying, this doesn't feel really right. So, for example, I have people, and it's also about colors, right? So, I have sometimes people in their bedroom, they put a lot of reds. Now, I would say you can wear something red during the day, that is fine. Red is a fire, it's passion, it's great energy. And some people say, I want more passion in my bedroom. I put everything in red. On your subconscious level, when there's red, there's fire. Now, would you sleep when there's a fire around you? I don't think you will,
Right.
right? So it's just, you have to think this way. The same with if people put all blues around them in their bedroom. Blue stands for water in Feng Shui. So it's people start drowning literally because everything is in blue. So I said to them, if you would be sleeping on a boat, would you feel safe if you would be sleeping there all the time? Like day and night, you're always on the boat. To be honest, you get a little bit crazy if you don't once in a while go off the boat and go on land and reconnect with the earth magnetism. So the whole point is people start feeling drowning. But that means, first of all, not physically, of course, but mentally. And so they feel like they have lack of clarity. They feel like there's no focus. So they wake up and they are really exhausted with all the blue. So I always say to people, work with earth tones like the beiges, the browns, the yellows, pinks, oranges, even metal colors, whites, off-white, beige, silver, gold are really good colors at night. It doesn't mean you cannot add a little pop of red, right? For sure. But having too much fire and too much water, people get out of balance in their bedroom and they have a harder time to recuperate. Yeah. So that's the whole point. Your bedroom is a place of longevity. So think about that. So what is there is affecting your health more than in any other place.
So if we've got a bedroom set up now, I'm thinking of my own bedroom, got a fair amount of stuff in there. Is it wise just to take everything out but the mattress and slowly add things back in? Or how do we, once we've got it in the right direction and figured out not the bed not on the same wall as the door and things like that, is it good to just clean it out and then slowly add back
Well,
in other than the mattress?
Well, no, you don't have to go that far. Think about less is more, though, in a bedroom. So sometimes people have too much closets, too much images hanging around. You have to think that is constantly telling you stories at night. And people sometimes just have not enough rest because there's too much going on in their bedroom. So I would suggest, like I have in my bedroom, of course, I do have my bed. I have like a seating area. I have a place where I put some pictures up, but there's space and I have nightstands with lamps, but there's space around my bed. So it's quite zen, to be honest, because then you rest more.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just thinking, how do we get started on all of this? We need to take a quick commercial break because I'm looking at the clock. I'm so fascinated and mesmerized by this, guys. I find it fascinating. But we need to take a quick commercial break because, as always, I've blown past our commercial break time. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Autoimmune Hour. I'm Sharon Sayler, and it's my pleasure to have Marie Diamond here. She's a Feng Shui expert, and we've been talking about all things Feng Shui and our health, understanding how we feel within our space and things that we can do to feel better and being aware of what's going on around us. We've talked mostly about our own home. I was thinking a couple of things too. We've talked a little bit about partners. What about our children? Do we do one of these for our children and arrange their bedroom for their compass as well? And then how do we blend a home that's maybe more than just two people? Let's say four people.
I have a family, so what I always suggest to people is for children focus on their bedroom because that's their anchor place. That's where they spend the most of time hanging out with their friends or gaming or sleeping or whatever they're doing, it's their bedroom, right? So always then make sure they are downloading the compass because it's easier and they love, by the way, feng shui. I have not one child that ever complained of doing feng shui because it's like a game and it's playful, right? When it's with an app, they think it's much more wow. So they look at making sure that your child's success direction is activated and that whatever they're studying, I always say you can put a cork board there and you can put things from their school or their medals that they receive or awards, or you can put even a bookcase there with all the things that they're studying. The relationship direction definitely activated. Always put an image of the family there. And then don't put in their relationship direction all the images of their idols, like all their singers, because that's too far away from them. But definitely put images of their friends and their teams that they're on. But definitely always a picture of the family because they will relate better with the parents. And then anything that they're inspired to be, then they can put that in their wisdom direction. Yeah. So all their singers and bands that they love, or anything in sports, like the athletes that they're really raving for, you can put that in the wisdom direction. Try if you can that your child sees the door when it wakes up. The child will be stronger. The child will be more active and more proactive in life. So I would do that. If you can, try to make it sleep towards a good direction, if that's possible. I just moved into my new house here in LA. And so the first thing we do, my husband and my two children, they go immediately with their app into their space. Mom, I need to have this bedroom because here I can sleep my right direction because they have practiced this for their whole life. Yeah. And so my children are really very creative, very successful. They have such a great relationship with us as parents. And everybody always compliments me on my children, but they always had good feng shui. Yeah. So that's one of the things. And also be careful what hangs above the headboard. Yeah. Because sometimes people hang a lot of things above the headboard, but always I would say, does that give them enough rest? For example, I had this child and they had an image of a dinosaur, right, from Jurassic Park hanging there. I always say, think about if it's really there, if that dinosaur would be really there, would you fall asleep? Yeah, of course.
Good point.
So we took it away because that child was every night waking up, going to the parents' bedroom, very disturbed and like in panic every night. And they were like, why is that? So one of the things is that we took that away. We made it much calmer, make sure that before they go to sleep, all their toys are in a box in the directions that are not good for them because you don't want to put them in good directions, toys, because they're just like, oh, messy. And so what happens is that within a week, the child stayed sleeping in their bedroom, in its own bed. And so the parents were like, what happened? So the dinosaur is not eating him up at night anymore. So you just be careful what hangs above a headboard. Also for grown-ups still. A lot of people have a hard time falling asleep or waking up early in the morning refreshed when there's water images above their headboard. Yeah. Again, they're drowning at night. They're very restless at night. So they don't go deep in their sleep. So for children, of course, you want them to study the right direction. So a lot of people put little desks against the wall and figure out that the child never wants to sit there because when we have a desk against the wall, we're hitting a wall. So we are not very focused. So always make sure that the desk is again facing in such a way it can see the door. It will be stronger. It will be more respected in its community. I know myself how from being in the wrong place till I was 15, I was bullied at school, beaten up. I was just like really on the bottom of the community ladder, I would say. And since at 15, I changed everything because I changed my position. I changed to another bedroom, changed colors. I did my first time my feng shui. From that moment on, the bullies stopped bullying me. And it was like amazing. Suddenly I got friends and I climbed the ladder of popularity, as they say. So it was really interesting. So you can really help your child to feel better, to feel more active in life, more successful. And feng shui is a big deal for children. And make sure that they feel less is more. So go regularly through all their toys, their stuffed animals, teach them how to give to charity. So that's the rule in my home. Every 6 months, we go through everything that we want to let go for charity. And we do that with the children too. So they learn from childhood on to be giving.
Wow. There's just so much digging down here to, and so much expansiveness to what we could learn here today. We're almost out of time. We've got about 7 minutes left, I think, as I'm looking at the clock. So, what are some final things you would like to share with our audience? And then also tell us more about where we can find about you and your work, the app, and the book.
One thing I really, the whole time we talked, I want to talk about is plants, because you have a huge plant behind you, and the plant is all with very sharp edged leaves.
Hmm.
And so in feng shui, everything needs to be round and blossoming. Think about my orchid behind me. So it always opens up the mind. Now, having such a huge plant with sharp edges, sharp leaves close to your aura field really affect your nervous system. So,
Wow.
and
Okay.
it,
Well, we have to find a new home.
yes, at least out of your sight, it also attracts more criticism and less recognition. And as it's really almost so close to you, it really affects your health and your concentration and your focus. Be aware of that, that you don't want these things that are dead, like dead flowers, potpourri, sharp edged things, everything like this is really affecting your nervous system, your chi, because everything in feng shui that is round, that is oval, that is blossoming is considered positive energy. Everything that is sharp is considered sharqi, that means really attacking energy. Yeah. So what you have right now is very attacking vibration. And I have seen people having this kind of tree close to them when they're working, becoming all the time sick. So as we took that away, the immune system starts boosting up and they start feeling better. So I just want to give that as a last advice to you and all your listeners and viewers. And then where can
Right.
they
If they're
come?
on video, they can see that it's a big palm plant.
It is.
It's
So
gonna have to be rehomed, I'll tell you that. Okay.
yes, of course. And where can they find out more about me? They can go to Feng Shui Your Life. The book is in good bookstores and is in Amazon. And then, of course, download your free app. Anyhow, if you work with the book, you need to download the app because it actually, and it's for free. So you can go through the steps and find your energy number. And then, of course, they can go to mariediamond.com and also follow me on Instagram, Marie Diamond Official, where there's every few days amazing videos where you can learn more about feng shui.
Thank you so much, everyone. That's Marie Diamond, and you can tell she's a master of feng shui. We just scratched the surface today for sure, but I've got so many things to do, and the first thing is rehome my old palm plant here. And just on a side note, though, maybe I don't want to totally rehome it. Where in the home could something like that go, or is it just like a no?
It's a no.
Okay. Okay, everybody. Next time you see me, the palm plant will be rehomed. And and thank you so much, Marie. Be sure and get her book, Feng Shui Your Life. It's got many more topics and tips and ideas in there for you. Have a great week, whatever your adventures. Join me next week for a palmless conversation. Have a great week. Enjoy.
The information provided on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, including the websites understandingautoimmune.com and lifeinterruptedradio.com, plus social media, is for educational purposes only. What you read, hear, and see on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, and its websites, and other media outlets is based on experience only. The information should never be used for any legal, diagnostic, or treatment purposes.